Welcome to the drawing board. Every week, Matthew Foray, James Hawkins, and me, Daniel Koshel, will be discussing all things related to the office products industry. This week, we're discussing balancing work life and home life. So obviously, August is coming, holiday season, kids are off school. How can we make sure that, Matt, you're a parent, how we can balance work life and home life? So firstly, how do we make sure we aren't overworking ourselves day to day?
All right. Okay. All right. I'll jump in this one. So, I think, truth be told, a lot of this is by knowing yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because, there definitely isn't one rule fits all. For example, I sort of see it as there's like two parts for this. What are your aspirations, and then what do you need to achieve them? Because it's quite difficult because someone might say don't work long hours. Don't do it. But on the other side, you also know if your aspirations are really high, you've got to put in the hours. Do you know what I mean? All three of us, and so it's a difficult one. So not just doing the Monday to Friday, but even sometimes weekends. It's been quite a lot of sacrifice over the years. Even I'm not one to talk about pro football, but I'm fairly confident, Ronaldo, whoever, I remember reading a little thing on him once, and he said, look, after the football team finishes training, he's there still, knocking in free kicks. So, is that a work-life balance? It's difficult. I sort of go back to that, the original point, which is, actually knowing yourself, so what your limits are. And I think there's also a good thing when you're fatigued. So, you can, put it this way, if we was to work, 8 days straight, I don't actually think probably after a while, you're going to fatigue, you're probably going to miss something. So I don't see that as, I don't think overload yourself, but you should know your limit. But, I don't know. One thing for me is I know how much. I know myself, so I know how much sleep I need. I know 6 hours full undisturbed sleep is perfect for me. And then I don't know, silly things like what motivates you, and also what doesn't. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like again answering that question of how do you make sure you're not overworking yourself day to day is just that equation of your aspirations to what you need to do to achieve them.
I think
to be fair, bouncing off the back of Matt there, I think knowing yourself is the key point behind it all. I keep my things very simple, always have little short breaks, whether it's one day off, making the weekend a little bit longer, just to kind of socialise with friends and family. I just think knowing where you're at is the main thing behind it. Definitely having a good sleeping pattern. I feel like if you break your sleeping pattern, it kind of, messes your whole week up. So my sleeping pattern very much Monday to Saturday is very strict. Going on to obviously Sunday is obviously where I get a bit of kind of chill time where I'll probably, have a Sunday to myself. But to recharge, ready for the new week. Another thing for me, I'd say, is keeping active. I like to keep active. So if I'm doing nothing indoors, I'm not one to kind of watch much telly. So I prefer to kind of go out and, do like a, 5-6K run. Just that way, it kind of clears my mind ready for the new day rather than, being kind of, stuck indoors and, kind of just watching telly. I like to, be active. It just keeps me going. And then just obviously the last thing I'd say is just fueling your body with the right food. I think, taking on loads of fluids and, eating right, it just keeps your mind intact and just keeps you, energized.
I just think so coming back to overworking yourself, really, it comes down to a lot of things, doesn't it? And I think sometimes is a lot of people kind of start the week slow. Just watching as a manager, I think Mondays and Tuesdays, people start the week slow. and then they're trying to catch up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll see a lot of salesmen. You'll see a lot of people who've got to do target-based roles within the business come alive Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I think it's kind of, for us, it's kind of put a lot of pressure on yourself. I think it's, like I said, having that downtime on the weekend, making sure you're recharging, and coming in as hard as you would Monday at 9 a.m. as just you would Thursday or Friday 9 a.m. and making sure that you're being as efficient as possible, everything's planned out, and getting ahead. And that is it. I think if you're not, and you kind of like lag behind through poor organisation, then you're just going to put more and more stress on yourself and overwork yourself to keep up. Right, next point.
Before we go on, I've got can I do a little screen share, Dan? I made a little graphic. Might not look too pretty, but it might actually help with that original question.
You need to get these things pre-approved, but on the off chance, I'll let you.
What happens if you don't approve of it?
Well,
watch it.
Brought up.
let me have a little look, and I think you'd be very, very happy.
Right, it's all you.
Screen 8. Oh, I'm joking. Right, can you see the little Excel document? Is this quite clear on your screens?
Yes.
Right. So all I was trying to work out was, I know it sounds really stupid, but there's 10,000 hours in terms of, and it's quite a good thing. I've done this a little while ago, and talking about that overworking yourself, because if you've got high aspirations, then there is one thing you're going to get there, and it's not the nicest thing, but it is putting in the hours and your growth. The one thing I was trying to work out, because I think about this quite a lot, and are you willing to do 6 hours a day, Monday to Friday, or are you willing to do 6 hours a day, Monday to Saturday? And I call this 6 hours really from the moment you're waking up, because if you're doing some training, if you're doing some personal development, or some nutrition plan, I sort of see that as working, because it all goes into one thing, if you ask me. But the point I'm trying to make is, once you know yourself, hopefully this is zooming in a little bit. I wish someone would have sort of said this to me when I was younger growing up, because I think it would have given me a bit of clarity. But sorry, see this box down here, this one right at the bottom? Let's just say you stick in here, you're willing to work 5 days a week. All right, 8 hours a day is a bit strong. So, I'm willing to do seven hours a day. And there you go. That gives me how many hours I've done per year. And then that gives me, 6 years. It really relatively hit, this, what I'd probably call it a sweet spot. If you've invested 10,000 hours into a subject, a career, a job, you should be getting some reward, either, spiritually, mentally, or financially around that number. But you know what I mean? I think it's quite a good thing for, you think, right, okay, you know what? I don't want to wait 6 years. I want it sooner. As some people are maybe impatient, or it could be ambitious. Right, I'm going to do it in 6 days a week. All right, that's brought it down by a whole year. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, granted, it's not the most pretty Excel document. I'm sure a graphic designer could make it look a lot better. But, it's a horrible thing to make sure you're not over. I think when you overwork yourself, my definition of overworking is you're becoming unproductive in your team. There's just different cases of people, of football players, Man United versus, Welling United. It's the same game. It's the pace is completely different. So I think you've got, going back to, like James said, you've got to know yourself of what level you're at. But I won't steal your screen down. I'll come off you.
Can we have a picture of that to put with the podcast, Matt?
Oh, of course, mate. Yeah. I'll sign it as well, yeah?
Yes, please.
Well, let me go back into...
So saying it's a little bit more relevant to us then, it's like stresses of running a business. What's the best way to switch off? Relax.
Oh, who's going first there? Me or you? Oh, well, where do we start? Right, I'll crack this one off. The thing for me is, it's actually quite funny, because I've put down here, like doing sports, and I've added golf, but I still can't hit a golf ball. So
You're shocking.
yeah, it's. But do you know the thing is, I do like golf because you kind of put your phone in your bag, you stroll around for 4 hours, try and find your ball for 6 hours, and yeah, you just kind of switched off from everything. You obviously with your friends, you're socialising at the same time, but things like that, like same with obviously football, where I kind of play that, twice a week training, and then obviously on a Saturday, it's just nice to break away from my everyday manic kind of life. So going to football, my phone's in my bag, from say 1 o'clock all the way through till say 5 o'clock. So I'm kind of focusing on the game. I'm focusing on being active, keeping my mindset on the game. So it kind of switches me off from my day-to-day life, which does me the world of good. And it kind of refreshes me at the same time. Another thing that I like to do as well is meditate. So just having, a little bit of meditation, whether it be to kind of motivational videos. I do like to listen to a little bit of opera, which some people think I'll be crazy because when I'm indoors on my own, my neighbours must think, what is he listening to? But it's just things like that. It kind of switches me off from my day-to-day life, which does me the world of good. Not saying it's going to work for everyone, but I just feel like doing things that are different to your normal day definitely switches you off and refreshes your brain a little bit.
I think
I agree massively, mate. Oh, sorry, I tried to. Can you hear me now? Sorry, I didn't. I tried to put my thingy on quiet as trying to be a good participator by being quiet. Right, in terms of like stressing, stresses of running a business. I think a good thing. I feel like your mindset. If you know you're going into a difficult situation, for argument's sake, mindset. But the best ways of switching off. I think I've said this on a previous podcast. I quite like seeing it as wearing different hats. So I see that I've got my work hat. I see that I've got sort of like my family hat, and I've got my friend hat. So I sort of see it as visually, or I don't know what you want to call it, 3 different hats. When I cross the threshold of work, I'm not in my work zone. Do you know what I mean? And then one way I used to do this, and it might sound silly, but it was wearing a suit over casual clothes. If I had my suit on, I've got dressed in the morning. That was a little bit, as it sounds, a little bit like Superman's armor. Do you know what I mean? I feel like right. I've now got suit on, my shoes on, my tie on, my cufflinks on. I'm now ready for work. And then I'll put myself in that that clarity and confidence zone of now you've got to be ready to tackle any situation of the day. My day today is to serve people, whether it be clients, staff, any other stakeholder, right? Versus being in casual clothes. When I go home, I'm in casual clothes. Let's not be thinking logical. Let's not be, be overly thinking about this work and stuff like that. Let's just be at home time. So I think for me, the actual physical side of what you're wearing helped me change my mindset. But then another thing as well is like putting your phone to one side. Like when I generally get home, I'm an early riser. When I get home, if my phone rings, of course I'll answer it. But I won't really, get dwelling on, going through a WhatsApp group or looking at my emails. If it's urgent, I'm fairly confident someone will ring me, and then of course I'll take a phone call. It's not a problem. Echoing a bit of James's point in terms of music, if someone listened to my playlist, I think they think I was having an episode or something was going wrong. I can go from like rock music to classical to opera, to R&B, whatever it is. So that music for me is a nice little downtime, and it sort of comes a little bit like meditation, not the sort of meditation that most people think of. Just listening to a bit of music throughout my day can really affect my mood. And then, I think a nice thing about switching off is, if you've given your day a really, really, really good day's work, and, not every day you can leave and think, oh, I've really done my best. But, 99% of the time, I generally do feel like, if I've ripped my day plan down and I've hit my day, I don't feel bad about switching off in the downtime. When I was younger, I used to find it quite hard when I used to go on holiday or leave the business for, like a week or whatever it is, that I'd be thinking, oh no. When now, you know, I've just conditioned myself to think, you know, if you've given, you know, I don't know, a quarter or 6 months of really hard working, you need that downtime. You know, it allows your brain to refresh. I remember, Dan, you showed me something on Bill Gates of this week where I think they call it their retreat week and their downtime week. You know, at the start of your business, then you're thinking, I can't take a week off. But once you know, grow it and your management teams and, you know, you've got a real, you know, solid structure, you need it to keep moving forward. And then finally, for still fun, mate, I would say power naps. You know, maybe not colleagues, but definitely family members of mine would know I power nap extremely well. So literally, I mean, I've done this out and about, but if I just need a quick 10-minute nap, I can generally, you know, close my eyes, deep breathe, have a 10-minute nap, and I will wake up as if I've had, I don't know, 3 hours. It's a weird one, you know, even saying it out loud right now sounds a bit weird, but it just works.
We're gonna start calling that map meditation.
Mate, I don't know how, honestly, it is one of the things that literally I can just a little 10-minute nap, and I literally feel like I have been asleep, and I'm generally waking up doing a star jump. It is invigorating.
Wow.
Give it a try.
I'm mad impressed.
Hours.
Yeah, for me, I think, I tell you what, with the kind of coronavirus and the reflection and things, and obviously everyone went to go work from home for a bit, and I think I worked from home for like 2 days, and I really struggled with trying to define what was work life and what was home life. And for me, to make it simple, it just has to be 2 different environments. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of champion working from home for a minute, and they have more time with their kids, or their travel to work's a lot easier. For me, I live 3 minutes up the road, so I don't have any downfall with kind of travelling to work. But that's the nice thing for me. I think it's kind of, I could be sat in here at 4:59 or whenever having a serious business conversation. You know, I could be literally outside or in a pub. 5 minutes later, everything's dropped. And it's just the environment, for example. I don't know, you would play football in a boxing ring, would you? It's the kind of, you make sure you're in the right environment. If it doesn't have to be like here, for example. It's not like, it's the kind of ideal scenario or situation or like kind of area to be in for us. I think we'd prefer to be in a little bit more like warehouse space and kind of etc. But for me, working here and just coming somewhere and having a desk set up that's all correct and not working for kitchen table just gives me that kind of that working balance. And then as I leave, I know that that's it. I've done my work. I do my work at my desk. Like you said, I think as well, dropping the phones off as well. Obviously, I always carry my work phone with me. I'll just put it on silent. And what I'd say as well, like not missing a call, in the sense if I'd always call someone back if I get a missed call. But after I leave work, my attention needs to come away from that phone and kind of recharge. Final question: how do we maintain a good home life?
Oh, who's going, Matt? Me or you? Which one to do? Shall I go? So my ways of obviously just maintaining a good home life, just making sure that things are a little bit different. So there's something I like to do, especially on a Sunday, is just have like a little spring clean. As mad as it sounds, just tidying up and making sure, you know, everything's neat, ready for the new week. So I feel like, you know, if I miss a day on a Sunday, you know, not tidying up my place, it just, you know, I just feel a bit like, oh, I'm not ready to start the week. So yeah, just that's one of the things obviously I do. It's just tidy up a little bit. Sundays, just make sure everything's kind of neat, tidy. My bag's packed, ready for Monday. You know, all organised, which is one thing, you know, I massively advise. Always play music indoors. So my neighbours obviously could 100% vouch for me here. Every day my music is playing. It's just something that keeps me positive, happy, and just keeps me going really. I like to, you know, even if I'm tidying up or getting ready, I'll always have music playing, things like that. Next thing, I like to watch when I'm indoors. I like, you know, kind of short stuff. So I'll just kind of stick on like a comedy or something that's positive. I probably watched every single Adam Sandler film. Matt always laughs at me about this. But yeah, I do love a comedy film. So I stick that on. It just keeps me positive. Indoors when you're kind of, not doing much, got a bit of spare time, whacking something like that on. As I mentioned previously, I like to run, so just to keep my mind clear. And it just kind of separates going on a run, I feel like you take all your energy out and then you come back to your kind of tidy house, and it just kind of separates your home life to your work life. Or if you've gone to work, had a hard day, you go on that run. I literally, this is my way. I come home from work, I put my bag indoors, I go on a run until I've, struggling, I've, built a good sweat, and then I come in, I have my shower, and then that's my chill out time. That way it really does separate my kind of work life to my home life. I like to write out, daily, things I'm grateful for. So either when I wake up or before I go to bed, I've actually got like a little kind of like book next to my bed. So just things I'm grateful for. Obviously, every day, waking up is the first thing I'm grateful for. So writing these things out, it does really, it puts things in perspective. How your day's been. What was good, what was bad. Especially in my day book. If there's anything that I thought was bad in the day, I'd write it down, and I'll make sure that didn't happen again. But most of all, it was I like to put the positive things down that I'm actually grateful for, because it really does, open your eyes. And then lastly, just obviously audiobooks. So, there's certain obviously audiobooks that work differently for different people. So yeah, just learning new things. It's good to kind of hear, different people's views on certain stuff. So whether it's kind of motivational speakers, I like to listen to Les Brown and Eric Thomas a lot. They're kind of two different people. One's very, powerful motivational speaker. One's very much more relaxed. And it just keeps you going, really. That's what separates your kind of work life and your kind of day-to-day home life.
Yeah, man, I think there's a few things I don't want to repeat, but yeah, no. Again, that maintaining that home life for me, it literally starts when my feet cross over the door. My mindset generally changes, and I think, I'm at home now, and I say downtime. Literally, I can cross the door, and literally Hunter is running into me straight away. So it ain't downtime; it's just a different time. But I don't know. One of my things that I write lots of bits and pieces down and self-reflect a lot. But one of my things, is getting that divide well, and I generally live by. Wherever I am, I try my best to be 100% there and give it my utmost focus. So if I'm at work, I'm at work. If I'm at home, I'm at home. If I'm out with my friends, I'm out with my friends. Do you know what I mean? So I try and give it my full attention and not juggle around my own head. Which sounds really simple, but it's took me a long time to sort of get to that. And then, yeah, just, communicating. I think as much as it is important at work, it's important at home. So, sounds really sad. Jamie, you talk about tidying up. My wife wants me to do the bins. That's my duty. I honestly hate it with a passion, but, I do it because it matters to her. So, a little bit of self-sacrifice. Even having, like personal goals, some of the same things is, they transcend in different parts of your life. But, I've got a home to-do list, so I stay focused. I know this Saturday, I think we've got to tackle not the garage, the shed. Do you know what I mean? So it sounds really stupid. I know, I'm planning on these little things. It doesn't get overwhelming for me thinking, oh no, I've got to do all this stuff. No, it's just little bite-sized goals. To sort of caveat on what James said about reading and self-development, I was an advocate for audiobooks, but I'm going to try and step out my comfort zone and actually read a hardback book. So to tell everyone out there, I'm literally awaiting Richard Williams, his book. That, for anyone who doesn't know him, that's Serena Williams and Venus's dad. It's his biography. Quite a hard book to locate, but we tracked it down, and I'm actually going to read a hardback book. I think it's probably the first time in about maybe 8 years. And then, yeah, that day plan, starting the day, from me, is the minute you wake up. isn't, you know, when I've had my breakfast, you know, starting that day from the second you've woken up and all the way down really until the minute that you go to sleep. It's helped me massively have that sort of home life balance. The better I know that my day's been, you know, then it allows me just to, right, you know, work is done. I've had a really, really good day. Boom. Now I'm going to come home, you know, give my full attention to the family. Done. But then, you know, it sounds sad, but, you know, planning in these events in the diary, these milestones, this, you know, I still do date nights. You know, I still got to make as much effort, you know, as I did in my home life, you know, whatever it is, 16, 17 years ago than I would now. So booking in, you know, right, take mum shopping, take dad shooting, you know, take the wife for a meal, whatever it is. But by actually put them in your diary, you've got these little things to look forward to. So it's not like, oh, right, I've got to keep throwing myself in at work and this, that, and the other. Like, no, like, you know, you've got these little breaks coming up, same as holidays. You know, before obviously, you know, COVID, I'd try and get away for a long weekend once a quarter. And that was lovely. But yeah, your home life, for me, essentially, is just really being focused in, you know, knowing when I'm at home, just giving it my full attention. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's the point I wanted to kind of follow up on what you said about is the calendar. Is I tell you what, sometimes I think is sometimes with the calendar is like they said, I use my work calendar for my personal as well. So if I'm doing things at the weekend or whatever, it's actually quite nice to kind of see during the week, like you've actually got plans at the weekend, or you've actually pre-thought about your weekends. They just, I know a lot of people. So we do like a lot of people. I know, especially with staff, they don't really want to tell you they've done that weekend. They may have been partying all weekend, but you come in and they go, oh, I haven't done anything, I just sat there. And if that is actually true, sometimes I think, no, what are you working for? Go and do something. If it's play golf or play football or meet up with your friends, and everyone seems on a lot of people's CVs, everyone likes going to the cinema. That's always on someone's CV, isn't it? I don't know, it's just something that, for me, just making sure that you've actually got a plan and doing something at the weekend. A lot of people just sit there and go, oh, what we're doing this weekend? Nothing. I sat there. And it's just like, for me as well, it's my good home life. I've championed this a lot, is having like a personal target to go do something. So if it's a holiday once a year, if it's, I've been on, I can, honestly, I've worked in many, many jobs, but I've always made sure I've had a summer holiday, if it's with my family or with my friends. And I think that's something that's like keeps me driven to want to work. It gives me that good home life that I know that I've got something to look forward to. And I think if for us as such and the staff as well, having that plan and put it together, is a lot of people will sit there and go, oh, like my target this year is to go away on holiday. But then they're not actually backing it up, and they're not really giving themselves that separation or reward for working in just general. So I think, for me, I think it's having that, if it's an event around a friend's house or a concert or anything at all, I think is, for me to maintain a good home life, is to kind of still set myself things that interest me to do things. So holidays, events, etc. Yeah, thank you ever so much for tuning in. Obviously, we really appreciate your comments and your likes, and obviously sharing of the content that we do. And again, if you do want to see us cover any topics at all, please do reach out.